name is Dr. Delib. I'm faculty at Tennessee State University Cooperative Extension in Organic Agriculture. Welcome to Small Farm Expo and welcome to TSU Organic Farm. Today we are going to speak about our 2020 melons research trial. We are growing two types of melons, watermelon and cantaloupe, and we call muskmelon. I have two graduate students standing. On my right side here, Mr. DJ, he's working on cantaloupes, and on my left side is Akizi, graduate student with the Organic Ag program. He's working on watermelons. Organic agriculture is growing and is gaining interest worldwide and nationwide, and market is growing since 2001 when federal registers came into existence through National Organic Program, through National Organic Standard Board. In almost 20 years, we have seen double-digit growth of organic agriculture past almost 18 years. And from last year, we have seen it's still 5%, which is still fascinating growth. Today, we are going to speak about our melon research trial, and I will have them opportunity, those who are working in the field on those crops, to speak about their research, that how they are doing their research and all of the issues.
Good evening, everyone. My name is DJ Wiggins, and I am a PhD candidate here at Tennessee State University. And right now, I am here standing in the Tennessee State Certified Organic Farm. And today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about some of the research that I have done since I started here at TSU. I began here at TSU in the fall of 2018. I have completed one trial. This will be my second trial that I will be talking to you guys today about. Just a little background about the research that I'm focusing on. My primary crop is cantaloupe, and along with cantaloupe, I will be working with two varieties, which are Divergent and also Delicious. Now, to begin with, the seeds were purchased from High Mowing Seeds Company, and they were grown in a greenhouse setting. Once they was in the greenhouse, they were grown in 72 cells trays, and we used a compost mixture in order to put the seeds in order to sow the seeds. Apparent the seeds emerging or germinating, we let them sow for about 4 weeks. Once they reached about maybe the V2 stage, which is about 6 inches or so, 6 or 7 inches or so, we then transplanted them out to the field after about 4 weeks. Once they were transplanted to the field, there was already a randomized block design that was set up. As you can see, I have 4 different treatments. I have biochar, I have fulvic acid, humic acid, and of course I have control. All right, as I mentioned before, that was set up as a randomized block design, so there are 3 reps for each crop, and there are 10 plants in each different plot. Okay, so here this is rep 3, which is the row for Divergent, and as you can see, there are some that are ready for harvest, and I'm going to speak a little bit about some of the issues that I've had while I have been growing. I mentioned earlier that we are in the organic field, which means that there could be no synthetic pesticides or herbicides or any type of chemicals displaced or used in this certified organic field, meaning that our primary issues would be weed management and also with pest and disease. Weed management is a very challenging factor. Growing organic makes it very tedious and very labor intensive when it comes to weed management, because you actually have to get in and hand physically pull the weedings. As I mentioned before, so typically what I would do is I would see some of the weeds here, and you typically want to have some gloves, but just for this sake of this video, you want to reach down at the bottom and simply pull these weeds out so that they do not sprout. In the ideal world, you do not want them to get about this height, because once they get this height, it's extremely hard for you to pull them because they have begun to mature. All right. Another issue that I did mention earlier was with pests. Now, when I talk about pests, I'm not only talking about insects or just disease. As you can see right here, you can see that there is some type of rodent or something that has actually caused damage to this cantaloupe. And also, so you can see right here, this is actually one of the pests that I have encountered out here in my field, and this is known as the spotted cucumber beetle. The spotted cucumber beetle is actually very important because it actually has caused some disease issues in my field currently because it actually carries certain diseases which is known as fusarium wilt. I did experience that in my field. Also, to come back with the rodents and also the turkeys, we do have turkeys out here also. If you look around, you can see that there's a fence that is actually wrapped around this field, and the fence is primarily used to help try to keep some of the turkeys out. Although some of them have been able to figure out that they can actually fly over it, but we have been able to keep majority of the turkeys out. Some of them, once they get in, they do begin to peck on the cantaloupe, and at that point, that cantaloupe is typically damaged. Now, I do want to mention a lot of people are curious on when to harvest cantaloupe or knowing when they are ready. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about knowing when the cantaloupe are ready. Now, I do want you guys to notice that right here, you can see this right here is the beginning stage of some of the cantaloupe. It's a very small fruit right here. Then you have a larger stage right here. As you can see, it's sort of like a greenish color. At that point, it is still growing. However, when you get to, let's go right here. Right here, we see yellowish, bright yellowish or light yellowish color. And one of the ways that you can tell when it's ready for harvest, primarily is you want to make sure that you check your seed package. Your seed package always tells you the range of days of when the crop actually may be ready. So as far as the high moving seeds for this particular variety with Divergent, it was a range from anywhere between 65 to 70 days after transplant, which right now we are currently directly in the middle of that time because it's right at about 71, 72 days right now. So we're seeing how that these plants are ready. After that, you then want to make sure that you look at the plant. And this crop right here, once you see like a little ring around this cantaloupe, this right here actually lets you know that it's primarily ready for harvesting. Now once it's ready for harvest, all you have to do is do like a small little pluck, and it just pops right off. And now you've harvested your cantaloupe. That is one of the easiest ways for you to be able to know when to harvest. So if you do go down and reach and it doesn't plug off, or if you have to pull extremely hard, you want to make sure that you leave that cantaloupe there because it's not completely ready for harvest and it's not ready, it's not ripe enough yet. All right. Let's see. Next, I did want to show you guys the difference between the two varieties. So if you guys walk with me, I will show you the difference between these two different varieties. Also, I did want to show, as you can see right here in the middle, we did have to use a tractor also to help us as far as weeding. So we did have to till occasionally throughout the growing season, and that's just to help keep some of the weeds and stuff down. As you can see, some of the spacing is very wide. Actually, between these rows, there is about 15 feet between these rows, and that is primarily to help with the weeding. So with the spacing this wide, we are able to get our tractor down the middle and be able to eliminate some of the weeds. Okay, yes, I did want to show you guys the difference between these two different varieties. As you can see right here, this right here is the Delicious variety. As you can see that it has ridges right along here, and also you will notice the color of it. This right here lets you know that this color, once it turns this yellowish color, that it has been ready, it's ripened, and it is ready for harvest. Now compare it to the Divergent. The Divergent does not have any ridges. However, it does have a netting pattern. So once you see this netting pattern here, then you will know that the Divergent is beginning to get ready to harvest and to start ripening, especially once the color starts turning yellow. Now I did want to mention, I mentioned about the cucumber beetle. I will show you guys, with it being organic, it is kind of challenging finding products to be able to control or suppress some of the pests that you do encounter. But one of the products that we use this year is actually Pyganic, and it is unrelisted. This is a organic pesticide that we were able to use to sort of suppress the cucumber beetle. It did a sufficient job. The primary thing that you want to focus on is you do not want the infestation to get out of hand before start using this product. So if you do spot any cucumber beetles or spotted cucumber beetles or striped cucumber beetles, you want to go ahead and spray immediately before they infest and take over your plot. All right. As far as research compared to last year, there was a pretty good turnout as far as yield, and also with the weight sizes, which is one of the parameters that we will be using to record data with the Cantaloupe. Last year, the fulvic acid actually did a very good, had a very efficient results. This year, it's seeming like the fulvic acid again will be one of the primary leaders in production. However, I have noticed that as far as size, just compared to size this year appears to be a little bit bigger than it was last year. About the same number of fruit per plant, which is right around about 3 or 4 fruit per plant. It's typically right around about the same, but the size is a little different compared to last year. As far as future results, what we're actually going to be doing, we'll actually be studying the phytochemicals and seeing if there's any type of difference between these treatments in regards to the nutritional component, looking at the phytochemicals and also the sensory attributes. That is still in the works right now. So once we get done harvesting, which we will be harvesting for like another 2 to 3 weeks, then we will then transfer it to the lab, and then we will run our analysis there in the lab. And if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
So folks, this concludes our today's session, melons research trial at the organic farm for this year. And I'm glad to see that the students, they did a good job. We are here now to answer your questions, or you can email us, or you can call us. My contact number is online, but we do have time for the question answers. Put them in the chat box or call us. Thank you.